How many times have you said to yourself, I'm going to succeed, and yet you keep coming up short? You probably noticed that high achievers with heart do things differently, but you just can't put your finger on it. You're curious about why high achievers accomplish more and have more satisfying relationships. It's because success is the result of your mindset and the consistent actions you take. This show is designed with your success in mind. By revealing these powerful patterns of our dynamic individuals and guest experts, you can model what they do and apply to your future success now. Let's roll up our sleeves and get started. My name is Brigitte Höfele, and this is the Success Patterns Show. And welcome, happy Tuesday, everyone, to the Success Pattern Show. Here is the golden nugget, and you want to have something to write with and something to write on. We're going to give you more than just one golden nugget, but here it is. Success patterns are more valuable than ideas. Let me explain. Ideas, while very powerful, require trial and error and a lot of time to put into action. Just think about manufacturing. First, you have this idea. Then you maybe do a proof of concept, then a working prototype, then small production batches, and finally a full-scale production. This can take months, maybe even years. And you may have met some people that are collectors of great ideas, but they do little else. Forget everything that you heard or think you know about ideas. You're not looking for ideas. You're looking for success patterns. Because the success patterns, they're different. They're better. Why? Well, first of all, they're proven, have a logical sequence of steps to follow, have an action imperative, and deliver consistent results. And our guest expert that I have today knows something about being consistent and putting the ideas into action. In today's content-rich program of the Success Pattern Show, you're going to learn these valuable success patterns from a very special, innovative Atlanta influencer. His name is Bem Joiner, and he is the creator and co-founder of Atlanta Influences Everything, LLC, a creative consultancy and clothing company that is focused on using civic, corporate, commerce, and cultural ideologies to solve community issues. It's going to be a great show. I can't wait for you to hear what Ben has to say. Ben, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Success Pattern Show. Thanks for being here. Atlanta Influences Everything. Here it is, right here.
Yeah, that's crazy. We were talking earlier. If you could get through the whole show with it on, I'll have to give you something.
I didn't even make it through our pre-show. It's a nice jacket. And let me just tell you, this jacket is one of 404 jackets. Mm-hmm. That's all you made.
Yes, and in collaboration with the Metro Atlanta Chamber. It was a great opportunity to extend our message to a wider audience. So yeah.
So the Chamber of Commerce, it sounds like you guys really have it made doing business and doing collabs with the Chamber of Commerce. You and your co-founder started Atlanta Influences Everything in 2015. Is that right?
That is correct.
So almost sounds like this overnight success. Was it that?
The statement in itself, like when it was said, that happened quickly, but the process and the why of the statement and the myriad of things that were going on in my head when I said the statement, because I didn't know I said it. It was one of my other business partners, Ian, who heard me say the statement out of a rant I was doing about Atlanta and a brand that we had pitched, that we felt that, and we didn't get the project that we were pitching as a marketing agency. And I felt that they didn't understand what Atlanta brought to the table in comparison to other markets. And so was ranting about them not understanding that. And I said, they don't understand that, we don't have certain things like LA and New York, but, we influence everything though. And so it was the Brooklyn business partner who heard the statement and said, we should put it on a shirt.
And that's what we did.
Yeah, it went from there. But it was a lot of like emotional stuff that led up to that.
It went from a shirt to actually a political statement.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it was. Hat. Yeah.
Right. You mentioned LA and New York, and those kind of bookending the United States, and Atlanta being in the middle. Atlanta's different. How is Atlanta different?
Starting with, at times I like to say, for better or worse, the things that go on in Atlanta are the core kind of foundation of America. So these other cities, especially if we stick with the New York and LA bookends, they're like melting pots. And America was Native American land first, and so Atlanta in this region, we sit on not all but a lot of Cherokee land. Mm-hmm. So this is Cherokee land. And then you have I think James Oglethorpe was one of the founder of Georgia. So originally one of the 13 colonies, which meant that that first group of settlers that came over here from England. So the ones we would identify as the white Americans, or whatever that is. Mm-hmm. And this, this became a home of plantations and cotton fields, agriculture, because of the type of land. It's good crop land here. And so slaves were brought to this land. And so, before, Alamo being taken, and the Chinese being duped into coming over, working on the railroads, and different entities, coming to kind of make their way. America has a history with that, with, I guess, what is considered the African American now, and that history is rooted in this region. And so before you can deal with immigrants crossing the border, before you can deal with Ukraine and different things that's going on, this region, with Atlanta as the epicenter, it has to deal with I'm from the South, so we say white. It has to deal with white and white people and the African American that never asked to come over here. That's not even a real race, and so this region is predicated upon that relationship, good, bad, and ugly. Mm-hmm. As we just witnessed in our neighbor in Montgomery, Alabama, the other day. So that's America. When Donald Glover said this is America, everyone has their own American story, but I guarantee you everyone else's American story could never reach what they wanted to reach until the American story of America and the African American is worked out, whatever that is and whenever that is. And so that's this region. That's what makes Atlanta as the capital of that region in some form, a very important place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, therefore it influences. Now, your name, Bem, is Swahili, and it stands for what?
Peace.
Peace.
And my middle name is Ali, which means warrior. So it's kind of like a dichotomy there.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious. is that part of your why? Is that, or is that what your why, your purpose is rooted in? Peace.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you know, a few years ago, I've somehow like feel realized that I was in a good place to actually live out my name fully. So you know, my first name and middle name are African names. So Peaceful Warrior Bame Ali, and then last name Joiner. Um, obviously uh, slave last name. Um, don't know much about them, but I've learned that the joiners Joiner, maybe cabinetry, joinery, so
Mm.
cabinetry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but earlier we were talking about I built my brand as a connector in some sort. So like joining, connecting, and so you know it's weird, but you know, peaceful warrior who joins.
Joins, who
So
connects.
yeah, been able to like live my whole name. So yeah.
That is so powerful. And when did you notice that, or when did you become aware of that? Like, were you already, grown, or was it in your adolescent years? When did that awareness start to rise?
It's probably about 10 years ago. So if we say, you know, take 10 years to become an overnight success. Um like it was just this I wanted to be an A&R in the music industry, and I wanted to find and sign talent. Like I didn't want to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to work for this one of the best record label execs ever, I think, in LA Reid. And I just wanted to like work for him. So I wanted to work at a record label. And there was this A&R I knew named Imran Majid, um, who had signed Amy Winehouse
Mhm.
and Chameleonaire to Universal Republic. He's now at Island Records. But he told me the music industry was changing. This was around 2012 at South by Southwest.
Mhm.
We were actually sitting at a bar with Mac Miller, like a couple seats down. And he was like, "Man, you know, why are y'all having such a serious conversation?" But I was trying to figure out how, because there's no clear way to get a job at a record label. It's a job like any other job, except it's not.
Mhm.
And he was like, "Yo, the industry's changing. Things are going to streaming. Music industry is going to be shot to hell. Like you're much more than an A&R. You're like a cultural A&R. Like if you listen to yourself, you talk about music, but you also talk about fashion and just all aspects of lifestyle and culture. So you should be this like cultural A&R and like connect things." And then, you know, he said, don't ask him how to do it. He just made it up. That's what
Mhm.
he saw in me. And that was March 2012. I was already working on a project to to take 15 creators from Atlanta to Stockholm for this cultural exchange in November of 2012. And when I returned home from Stockholm in December, that his words combined with that experience
Mhm.
made me want to explore the what I this name I called that I made up for myself, which was the creative culture curator. It's probably too long. I'm learning it's supposed to probably just be two words. I like force things together. And the last thing I'll say to that, when I was in Stockholm, uh, one of the girls that I was working on this project with, she was American but living out there, and I was telling herself that I was trying to brand myself as this culture curator. And she was like, "Well, I don't know, yo. I don't know if you can do that because, you know, I have a degree in curation." She actually went to school for it. Um, and so I went to the definition of it. I'm like, "Well, I'm not trying to infringe on your degree. I respect that, but there's another definition of connecting things and pulling things together, and that's what I would like to professionalized in some form. And it just kind of went from there. It took a long time to get here. What, at 10 years, almost about 10 years. So yeah.
Yeah. And you spoke it out, you became aware of it, you spoke it out, and you took action on it. And you did not lose sight of it. And that all in itself is a success pattern, right? Because there are enough other people that have a great idea like you. Maybe a too lengthy name for themselves, or definition for themselves, and eventually, they go through it, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe even 3 years, and then they're like, you know what, this doesn't work, and they give up, and they lose their dream. You had a very specific goal and dream, and you created it. I actually had a conversation with my daughter around questioning the status quo, and people that are questioning it can actually create something greater. And you did. And you're continuously curating that. I mean, I follow you on social media. I love the work that you do. I love the man that you are, just really grounded in yourself. Were you always that way? I mean, was that the little Bem that grew up always being super grounded in who he is and what he does?
I guess the more I talk to people, there might have been a natural grounding. Like, you just don't know. You just doing you, whatever that is. So that just was what it was. But my belief in myself, because I'm 44, so I identify as the tail end of Gen X. So they're like, like the young people, like today, you can have like a mental health day. Our generation, one, this region in the southeastern United States, two, being Black, three, like, you're not gonna take no mental health days. Meaning, I mean, you can't. Meaning, you're also not gonna get like a success patterns show to tell you everything's gonna be okay if you like just double down on this logic. You're not getting that in 1996, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001. You're not getting gig economy opportunity to help you chase your dream and fill a gap of phone bill and light bill money. You're not getting that opportunity to fill a gap in the dream chasing in 2007, 2008. So like, and if you don't believe it naturally, where you can explain what you believe to people, then it becomes a problem. And so I didn't believe in myself naturally. What I did was, I was like, this just what it's gonna be. Like, and that doesn't mean that you can confuse that in terms of like you believing in yourself. That's not the same. That's just like balls to the wall. Like, yo, this is just what it's finna be. I don't know how it's gonna be, but I'm gonna just read books and listen to things, like, if I can get my hands on on some sort of material like success patterns, what, like, and I'm gonna just do it. And so that those horse blinders, I think I probably hurt a lot of. I don't know if I hurt a lot of people. I don't know what a lot is relative, but I know I hurt some people. I know I hurt family members, friends, and loved ones, because thou shall not be moved. And when you focus like that, and I felt like, and once I felt like I was doing what the Lord had me here to do, and then certain things in universe was showing me was like, yo, and I'll say, when I tried to not be who I was, life got bad.
Mm.
I had asked to be something else,
Mm-hmm.
and life got bad, and so that scared me straight, in the sense of, well, maybe I'm saying the wrong thing. You know what? Let me ask for a better pathway to be what I'm trying to be. Let me ask to be shown or enhance certain things, rather than ask for something to be taken away and be something that I'm not. Like, I was like, well, let me just work a 9 to 5. This stuff don't seem to be working. And life just got bad. But
Mm-hmm.
to better when I asked to better leverage what I had been given
Mm-hmm.
for the greater good, then the universe started conspiring, and things started happening. And my to I guess, to end it, my in 2012, I came out of college in '02. So between 2002 and 2012, just trying to do music industry stuff. Like, we did Drake's first show in Atlanta, Kendrick Lamar's first show in Atlanta, the Goody Mob reunion, did stuff with brands like Vitamin Water, Heinz Ketchup. So I'm just like, I'm built, but nothing is consistently sticking. And then in
Mm-hmm.
2012, when I made, I guess it's a pivot, but it's a slight pivot. So I still kind of cultural A&R, but just more focus on connecting the public sector and the private sector and the foundation world to this culture that seems to be setting trends, that seems to be rooted coming out of Atlanta. That the process in doing that, it has caused, in my personal life, credit, all of that just had to go out the window. So um this has come at a cost, and I'm just now, because of opportunities like this show, being able to, like, tell my message, and maybe folks hear it or whatever. But it's also a message to me that, hey, you doubled down, you believed, and your why was based on helping the younger version of myself. Very selfish. It's like, okay, how many kids in the public school system in Atlanta, but throughout America, when they get shown career opportunities, if they're not going to live a destitute life, it's like, well, you got to be an entrepreneur. That's the only way you cannot fall prey to the Sunday scaries, as they would call them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so you see your parents, most, like, they complain about going to work. It's like, well, why do I want to be an adult and go to work? I would like to do something I love. And you normally see the kid drawing Jordans in a public school classroom, and with like 30 students, there'll be a kid, GPA is 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. They're not really disturbing the class, but they're drawing sneakers. And it's like, how does that kid get a career in that field? And I wasn't drawing sneakers, but I was listening to music, dissecting music, and none of the great adults in my life, and I want to be clear, great adults could help me as a young Black kid in Atlanta learn about careers in the creative industry.
Mm-hmm.
And as I grew older and I learned about them, I'm like, well, that's going to continue to happen if someone doesn't step in. And so once I learned that Atlanta, I worked at this nonprofit, taught me that the ins and outs of how Atlanta works, Civics 101, taught me that Atlanta was number one in income inequality with a 4% upward mobility rate. And so all I did in my mind was like, well, there's an untapped creative industries workforce that the movies are coming here, so much entertainment, but from a hyper local public school level, we aren't being taught that there's a career as a creative director
Mm-hmm.
or a graphic designer in terms of career. And so,
Mm-hmm.
hey, let me kind of connect all of the people that it would take to make this thing happen. Let me figure out a way to connect them, and by the grace of God, eventually who knew it would be all of the people needed to, when you say it takes a village to like raise a child, who knew that the way to bring everyone in the village together to hear this message was by all of them buying the shirt. This shirt that says Atlanta influences everything and wearing it. And it's like, oh, yo, you're a superintendent, like you're a council person, you're a sheriff, you're a judge, you're a record label exec, you're an athlete, and y'all all got on my shirt. Hey, there's some great things that we could do community-wise if we work together. And it kind of just went from there.
And that's what it is. It's community. And I watched I watched several of your reels and videos that you put out on social media. And in one, you say that you're not your typical creative. And I would agree to that. And very unique and special people, you cannot put in a box of, that person is a mural painter, or that person is a graffiti painter, or that person does sculptures, or that person does whatever the creative side that may be. You're a very unique creator and connector. And I honor you for that. When you were speaking, it is almost like you have created what you basically needed for yourself at some point. And that isn't that a great testimony to showing that we somewhat have healed our inner child and are allowing others in the future to not even need to heal from something because you're providing it. You are providing it.
Yeah, never knowing that was obviously that was going to be the case. And just from a business accounts payable perspective, I'm learning only recently has my language and accounts payable lined up. Like it was hell before that. But now what's coming along with, myself and someone's accounts payable division being on the same page is they're pleased with this type of connecting, and they want to, which was always my longer term dream, to normalize what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Both of my parents were social workers. My dad was private sector. My mom was public sector. And there had to be a time in the English language, just in America, where there wasn't a social worker. Like, there ain't nobody even know like what that was.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. So at some point, same with podcasting or
coaches.
Yes, the language and why you matter to society. Whether you're an essential worker, somehow that person was able to identify, hey, this is why I'm essential. And then eventually everybody started, hey, nah, I'm essential too, because I think like D Nice, when he did the DJing during COVID, it kind of showed like the DJ or these entertainers could distract you from what was going on in the outside world. They were essential or whatever. So once you can,
absolutely, I fully agree.
Yeah. And once you can normalize a unique skill set, I think that's the overall win. And when I say normalize, those that also have, because obviously I ain't the only one, those that have this particular skill set can start to find their pathway into it more, I guess, find their pattern, the success pattern. What is the success pattern of being a creative culture curator? Do you have to go to college for it? Do you get a degree? Like, how I got here is a manifestation of a bunch of different life experiences. But at the same time, I am aware of certain soft skills and just the willingness to pursue information. And if you're always thinking about what's next, and I guess I'll end that with how I operate. You you learn from the past, you know. So each bit of my life, good, bad, and ugly, I learn from it, and then
Mhm.
you give thanks for today.
Yeah.
And so I am so thankful for today. I'm so thankful for right now for being on this show. I'm so thankful for you and your husband. And I'm thankful. I just found out that y'all are neighbors to like one of my best friends. I literally just found that out because he saw me post about the show. So I'm thankful for today, but every waking moment I think about the future. And so
Yeah.
like Faith Popcorn or other people who have figured out how to get paid by being a futurist, I'm always thinking about what's next, how can something be better, how can we have more fun, how can we smile more, you know, and I'm always thinking about tomorrow. So those three things I learned from the past, I give thanks for now, but I am thinking about tomorrow all the time.
Clearly, clearly in everything that you do. Now you have kids, right?
Yes, 4-year-old Crew who started kindergarten today, and my daughter
All
Rain.
right.
Yo, yeah, he's very excited. New school, Amada Academy West. He has a birthday coming up on the 15th. He'll be 5. And then I have a 17-year-old daughter who lives in Houston, Texas, going into her senior year. So
All
just that
right.
dichotomy of a kindergarten and a senior, it's like, whoa, this is what am I doing in life?
You're doing what you're called to do clearly, and you're very in tune. You're not just grounded of what I think I see in you. You're also very in tune with your why, with your purpose. And I don't see a whole lot of people that truly live that. They say it, but they don't live it. I see you living it, and it's very congruent, and it shows up in your entire being, and it's really refreshing. And I'm honored that you're here on the show. I'm going to give you a few words. We're going to do like a little rapid fire round before we end our show today. So
Okay.
I'm going to say a word, and the first thing that pops in your head, you're going to say just a word or a phrase. Ready?
Hmm.
Mindset,
Global.
travel,
I just said global. Needed.
future,
Black.
food,
Cheese.
wealth,
You said wealth?
wealth,
Oh, wealth. Um, Community.
passion,
Purpose.
acceptance,
Uh, Levels.
mm. Thank you for being on the show. I want to have you back. There were so many things that we didn't even scrape the iceberg on. And there's so much more. And I'm pretty sure next time I have you on the show, there's going to be so much more that Atlanta influences. And just to end for everyone to know, you kind of made it when you have bootlegs on Amazon for Atlanta influences everything.
Yeah, we sent out cease and desist though. My partner Ian he quick with the cease and desist finger.
Good for
But
you.
we also understand the game. We've been hit with cease and desist before, just in our growth as a company. And there's a
Mhm.
certain level, like we have our first cease and desist. I think we have it framed. Like when you get one from Nike, I got a homeboy that got one from Brand Jordan. It's like, yo, they told me to see they go get the lawyers. You stop right there. You push no further. But you frame. It's like, yo, you got on somebody's radar enough,
That's right.
for them to. So yeah.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Now, can people get in touch with you, Bim? Because I want to encourage them to get in touch with you. You are the connector. Can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, my role in the company is new business, so my partners would be pissed if nobody could get in contact with me. So yeah, it's Bem at AIE.life, BEM at AIE.LIFE, and I'm on all social media platforms. I'm very easy to find. I'm not hiding from anyone as of right now.
Yeah, you'll recognize Bem's icon on social media. It's a mural that's actually here in Edgewood, in Atlanta. Is it like an Atlanta United halo almost? It looks like a halo.
Yeah, I think one of my partners might have a halo on his head, maybe. So three of us, I'm like holding the Atlanta Influences Everything flag. And with that said, on August 26th, if I'm not mistaken, Atlanta United is playing our rival in Nashville, and we have the third kit coming out for Atlanta United. It'll be debuted that game. It's a throwback to 90s era Atlanta. Kind of got this airbrush look. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. That's probably one of the biggest things we've done, and it's coming up in a few weeks. So yeah.
Cool. I can't wait till it drops. Thank you, Bem, for being here. Thank you guys for joining in on this Tuesday Success Pattern Show. Tune in again next week, same time, same place. Until then, I say peace.
Peace. Thank you for
tuning in, and you will notice opportunities to apply success patterns daily while eagerly anticipating next week's content-rich success patterns.